Hello everyone, I'm Salar and this is part 11 from this course. And in this course, I wanna keep talking about Gnu Make, and in this course, I want to talk about variables in your Make file. So let's do open my home directory, and I have a test directory. In my test directory, I have a simple code and print hello world in terminal, and for my code I have a make file. It's a simple make file, creating an object file from my C file and creating an output from my object file, and a funny target for cleaning. Okay, and now let's do open terminal and change directory to test and make my project. So I have my output and hello world. So let's do open make file and assume that I want to change my compiler to Clang. Okay, my compiler to Clang. I should change all of my GCC to all of my recipe in all of my recipe. Okay, for example, I should change it to Clang, and I should change to Clang. Okay, save that, clean project, and another time run make. And this time make creates my project with Clang compiler. Okay, with Clang compiler. But assume that I have a lot of rules, and I have a lot of recipe with Clang or GCC, and I want to change that. I should change all of my recipe, and it can produce and make a lot of error and some error in my make file. So how can I prevent these errors like this? Okay, so I can use variable in my make file. So what's variable like another programming language like C has a name, and it's equal to, for example, a value. For example, here GCC, and I want to use my variable in my code. Okay, I want to use my variable in my code. How can I use? It's so easy, with $sign and the parentheses and the name of my variable CC, and here $sign parentheses and name of my variable. So here I have $sign and CC in my recipe, and what's that CC? CC is GCC. Okay, the value of CC is GCC, and make replace GCC here in my recipe. Let's just save that, clean project, and another time run make. As you can see, it compiles my code with GCC. Okay, and I have output. Another time, let's do change it to Clang. I can easily change my variable values and my variable value to Clang. I don't need to change all of my recipe. Okay, it's so easier, and it can prevent some error in my make file. Save that another time, clean project, and run my make. In this time, make compile my project with Clang. Okay, with Clang, and I have my output hello world. And this is variables. As you can see, I use this syntax for using my variable, and make calls this using expanding variables. What is expanding variables? Expanding replace my variable with its value. Okay, replace variable with its value and by its value. So this is expanding variables. So when make want to run my code, it replace this variable by its value and it's expanding. And in this way I can make my make file easier. Okay, but we have two types of variable or make documentation call that to flavor of variables. Okay, to flavor of variables. Make has two types of variables, vars. Okay, first, as you saw, with equal sign. Okay, with equal sign, and it's recursively expanded variables. Okay, and what is recursively expanded? I will describe that in this part. Okay, and another types of variable is with colon and equal or double colon and equal. When you define your variables with colon and equal or double colon and equal sign, equal operator, it's a simply expanded variable. Okay, it's a simply expanded variable. So let's give some information about these variables, these types of variables, and their differences. Close that and change directory to home, and in home make another directory, for example test2, and change directory to test2 and create a make file. Okay, in the make file I want to write some thing, but before that let's give you some information about terminal. We have a command in terminal and it's echo. What's echo? Echo can print and a string in your terminal. For example, echo solar. It prints and shows solar in your terminal. Or for example, echo hello world. It shows hello world as an output. You can put your string in double quote or single quote. Okay, double quote or single quote. Sorry, in single quote. Okay, you can put your string in double quote or single quote or unquoted. Okay, it's a simple command, and I want to use that to show something with makefile. Okay, another thing, let's open makefile and let's define a variable with simply expanded variables. What is simply expanded variables? For example, var colon and equal or double colon and equal. I use colon and equal because it's easier. Colon and equal or double colon. You can use all of these operator and these signs. Okay, and for example, the value of my variable is solar. Let's print my variable in output. I need a target for my makefile, and target I need an recipe. For example, echo and value of my variables. Okay, it's the simple make file, and with this make file I want to print the value of variable in the output. Let's just save that and run my make. Echo solar. Okay, echo solar. For printing and string in output, I can use a function in my make file. What's function? I will describe function in next part. Okay, but in this way I can print my output with make file. $, open parenthesis, info, your thing and that you want to print that, and close your parenthesis. Okay, in this way. This is a $, parenthesis, and some string here. This is an syntax for function, and I will teach function in next part. Okay, but with this way I can print my output make and solar. Okay, I have a solar, but let's change my make file, and my target is a phony target. Okay, my target is a phony target, and let's save that and another time run my make. And because you don't have any terminal command, info is a syntax for make file. You don't have terminal command like echo or, for example, gcc. In your target it says that nothing to be done for your target. Okay, and it's not an important error, but when you use info, you don't see, for example, echo solar and another time solar. You just see your string, and you can use echo. And let's for example, change it to echo. Okay, you can use info or echo. And echo @ and $, and your variable. Okay, $, and your variable. Let's just save that and another time run make. Okay, echo solar and solar. Okay, it's my variable. But let's define my variable with recursively expanded sign. Okay, with just equal. Nano my make file and change it to equal. Okay, in this time my variable is another type, recursively expanded, and save that and run my make file. Echo solar and solar. But what's difference? What is difference between two types? Okay, what's the difference between two types? I teach you what is difference with an example. Okay, with an example. So let's open my make file and add, for example, another simply expanded variable to my make file. Okay, simply expanded, for example, var1, or for example var sim. Simply expanded. Sim means simply expanded, and it's equal to value of variable. Okay, its value is value of variable, and another time redefine my var. Okay, redefine my var. For example, in this time David. What will show make in the output, Salar or David? My var sim, simply expanded variable, value is value of var, but value of var is Salar and David. Okay, but what will show? What will show? Let's do test that. Save that and run my make. In this time, echo David. Echo David. But sorry. No. My make, I want to print the value of var sim. My simply expanded variable, var sim. And what will show, Salar or David? The value of var sim is value of variable, but we have two definition of my variable. Let's just save that. And another time run make. Echo Salar. Okay, echo Salar. Why it shows echo Salar? Let's do write my code here. I have a variable. First, its value is Salar. I have a simply expanded variable. Its value is var. Its value is var. Value of var. I have a target for echo value of my simply expanded variable. At another time, define my var and change its value to David. But in simply expanded, how make read your make files? Okay, how make reads your make file. It first put your var Salar. Okay, put Salar in your var. After that, because you have simply expanded variable, make Gnu Make expand this variable. What is expand? Replace variable with its value. Replace this variable by its value, expand. Okay, when you want open a variable, you should expand that. Expand just in line. Okay, just in line here. And var sim equal to value of variable. And what is value of variable? Salar. But after that, it read this variable. Okay, after that it read variable, but replace your var in this time to David. But before replace your variable with David, put the value of your variable to var sim. So make file print Salar in. Make file print Salar in output, because the value of var sim is Salar. But let's to change another type of variable. Var rec. What's a recursive variable? And put the value of variable with my var. Okay, and this time I have a recursive variable, var rec, and echo, and this time var recursive. Okay, but what will print in output in this time for my recursive variable? Solar or David? Solar or David? Let's just save that and run my make file. In this time, David for my recursive variable David. Okay, for my recursive variable David. I can for it. Let's do make my make file more clear. For example, echo var sim is value of var sim, and echo var rec is value of your var rec. Okay, your recursive and your simply expanded variable. Save that, and another time. Var sim is Solar, but recursive variable is David. Why? Why recursive variable is David? Let's create a line here and change my target. And in this time I have var rec and it's equal to var. But how expand this variable? This variable is recursive. When you have a recursive variable by equal, make and Gnu Make doesn't expand your variable just in time. First, read all of your variable in your file. After that, okay, after that, in recursive, first read all of your variables, okay, all of your vars in your file. So when you have recursive variable, first gather some information from your make file. For example, it says first var equal to Solar. The value of var is Solar. The var, because it's simply expanded, okay, var sim equal to Solar. Because it's simply expanded, it just expanded just in line. But for recursively expanded, it does not expand your variable, okay, because it first read all of your vars in your file for recursive. After that, expand recursive vars, okay, after that. So in this time it does not expand my variable. Another time, change my variable to David, okay. And this time my variable, it's not Solar, it's David. After that, after finishing, now var rec equal to, in this time, David. So for your recursive variable, first gather some information about your make file. After that, expand your variables. But in simply expanded, just in line expand your variables, line by line, okay. in simply expanded line by line, but in recursive mode, first read all of your vars. For example, here first var is Solar, but in the last of your file, var is David. Okay, var is David. After that, replace the value on your recursive variable and expand your recursively variables. So, for simply expanded variables, you have immediate expanding. What's immediate expanding? Just in line. Just in line in first phase that you read your make file. Just in line. But in recursive deferred expanding, okay? What is deferred expanding? First, read all of your vars. After that, expand recursive, okay? After, read all of your variables, okay? It's deferred expanding. And its difference between simply expanded variables, simply expanded, and recursively expanded. So when you echo your var sim, the value is Solar, but will you print your recursive simply is Solar, but your recursive is David. But let's do echo var. Okay, echo var. Echo var is value of var, but this time var, okay, var, the value of var in output is Solar or David. What do you think? What do you think about that? Solar or David? Let's do run that. Save my make file. During that, another time run my make file. The value of var is David. Var is David. Why? Because in your recipe, just your recipe, not in your targets or prerequisites, okay? Just in recipe, like recursive variable, recursive vars, expanding will happen after reading all of your make file, okay? So in recipe, expanding is deferred, okay? Deferred like expanding is deferred like your recursive variable. So when make file read your file, first var is Solar, and when it reads your target, in this time doesn't expand and doesn't run your echo, okay? Doesn't run your echo. First read all of your make file, replace var with David. After that, running these lines, okay? And var is David, okay? And var is David. Make var is David. And it's similar to simply expanded like that. And let's change my make file, nano make file. If I change my variable to simply expanded, first read all of my variables, after that run this var. Okay, so another time, if I run my make file, echo var is David. Okay, so after read all of your variables, make run your recipe. Make runs your recipe after reading all of your file, because make and Gnu Make read your make file 2 times. Okay, 2 times. In first times, just expand your simply expanded variables. Okay, just expand your simply expanded variables, but after that, expand your recursively variables. But I want to give you some more information about variables. Okay, and now we know what's the difference between simply expanded and recursively expanded. Simply expanded take place just in line in first phase of reading your makefile, but for recursively expanded variables, first read all of your variables, after that expand your variables. Let's give more information about makefile. Nano makefile, and assume, let's remove all of these lines. For this time, just keep echo and read all of these variables. For example, assume that I want simply expanded variables. Okay, simply expanded variables, and I want to append a string to my variables. How can I do that? Another time, my var, that because it's simply expanded, it's solar, just in line, and after that I want append David to my variable. Okay, and I want to echo my var, value of my variable. Okay, this time I want to print the value of my variable. Save that, and as you can see, it can append and add David in your variables. Okay, and now I have solar and David. Why? Because in first line your var is solar, because your variable is simply expanded. In second line your var is value of the variable and some other strings. Okay, and and expand this variable just in line. What is the value of variable? Solar and other string, and appended string is David. Okay, so when you have these files, you have var is equal solar David. After reading all of your files, run your code and run your recipe and echo solar and David. But let's change my variable to recursive type. Okay, to recursively expanded type, and let's run my make file. In this time it says, and it returns me an error. Recursive variable var, my var is a recursive variable, references itself, and it's an error. Why references itself in recursive variable is error? Let's describe that here. Another time I have var equal to solar. I don't need as you can see, no make file. First, my var is solar. In second line, I need expand the variable, but because your variable is recursive, you can't expand that in time. Another time, your var is value of your variable and David. So in this time, you finish reading all of your makefile, and in this time I want expand my recursive variables. Okay, in this time I want expand my variables, but because I replace var with $sign var and David, now my value of variable is here. Let's replace that in var. So var equal to value of variable. What's the value of variable? All of this is string. Okay, all of this part, not just solar, all of this part. Var David, another time David. And if I want to repeat that, it's unlimited repetition. Okay, another time. Var David, David, David. Okay, and it's unlimited series. Okay, and when you have recursively expanded, as you can see here, it's recursively expanded. You can't reference your variable by itself. Okay, it's error. So how can I append the string to my variable when I have a recursive variable? I have a simple operator, and it's that plus and equal and name of your and the string that you want append. Okay, I have var, I want append David to my var, and in this time if I save my makefile and write my makefile, now I append David to my recursive variable. Okay, you can use a append operator plus and equal with simply expand. You can use append operator with simply expanded and recursively expanded. Let's save that and run my make. Okay, in this time I have solar and I append David with append operator to my variable. Okay, but let's give some information, some more information about variable. Assume that I have a variable, recursively variable, and its name is, for example, my var, and its value is var. Okay, I can use value of variable for name of my variable. How? For example, here my var, for example, equal to solar. So if I echo var, if I echo var, what's the output? Let's test that. Make echo solar. Why? Because name of my variable, it's the value of this variable. What's the value of variable var? So in this time I have in this line I have var equal to solar. So when I print value of var, it returns me solar. But in simply expanded, in simply and recursive vars expanding left hand side of your var is immediate. Okay, where is the left hand side of your var? Here is left hand side. There is no difference between simply and recursive expanded for left hand side. And if I, for example, change my var value to, for example, var1, if I save my makefile and run that, another time I have echo Sala. Why? Because left hand side expand just in line, like simply expanded. You have recursively expanded, but deferred expanding will happen just in right side. When you have a variable in left hand side of your operator, make expand your variable just in line. Okay, and if you see makefile for operator, makefile says that expanding for simply expand immediate for left hand side for simply expanded, and immediate for right hand side. And another time immediate for left hand side in recursive variables, and differ just for right hand side of your recursive variable. And as you see in your rule, okay, in your rule, I don't give information for your target or your prerequisite, but for your variable that use in your recipe, is different. So when you, for example, var here for recipe, you have, for example, var equal to solar. You want to print the var, and another time var equal to David. But because in your recipe var will expand after reading all of your makefile, it will echo David. Will echo David. Make echo David. Okay. But what's about your target and your prerequisites? For your target and your prerequisites is immediate. Let's do and see that in my project. Unless I have a C project, make clean, and none of my make file. Okay. For example, assume that I have another variable that it's my C file, name of my variable, and you can define that in simply expanded or recursively expanded. In this time it don't has any difference. I define it with recursively expanded in this time, and name of my and value of my variable, for example, is main.c. Okay, main.c, and change my C file variable to another C file that I don't have. Okay, I don't have main1.c in my directory. Okay, I just have main.c. And if I use my variable in prerequisite, or for example target, all of that are immediate. C file and run my code, make it use main.c. main.c. Make file. It use main.c for my variable. It doesn't use main1.c. But if I change it to main.c but use my variable in my recipe, C file, in this time save that and run my make clean and make. I have error because no such main.c, because when you use your variable in your recipe, expanding is different after reading this line. Okay, expanding is different. But when you use variable your main.c in your recipe or your target, okay, recipe or your target, I just give you an example for prerequisite and recipe, okay, and target it's like prerequisite. C file, and if I give a running file to my recipe, it will returns me an error. Okay, main2.c is wrong. You don't have main.c. No, make for another time. Resolve my problem. I have main.c. It's immediate expanding, so the value of this variable is main.c. And if I save my code and run that another time, I will have my output. So for your rules, for your targets and your prerequisites, expanding is immediate just in line. Immediate just in line, but for your recipe, expanding is different. For your recipe, expanding is different. So for your simply expanded, for right hand side it's immediate, for left hand side is immediate. For your recursively expanded, for right hand side is different after reading all of your variables, but for left hand side it's immediate. It's immediate for simply and recursively expanded, both immediate in the left hand side. In your rule, you have immediate and immediate for target and prerequisite, but different for recipes. But as you can see, let's change my directory to test2 nano make file. In my simple make file for teaching variable, I have a variable that it has just a line. It has one line variable. How can I define multi-line variables? Its syntax is so easy. What's the syntax? Let's write that here. For multi-line vars, what's the syntax? Let's write it with first define, it's a keyword. After that, name of your variables, After that, your operator. What is your operator or sign? Colon, equal, or double colon, and equal for simply expanded and equal for recursively expanded. All of these signs is true, and it's like single line variables. Okay, you can have simply expanded or recursively expanded variables, and your and the value of your vars, value in line 1, value in line 2, and after that, after defining all of your variables, and define. Okay, let's do create a variable with this syntax. Define. It's a violet highlight and it's not clear in my screen, but it's define. Okay, define name of your variable, for example var, and a sign for your value. For example, I have a recursive variable. Value of my variable, for example, echo. This is line 1, and another time echo. This is line 2, and define. Okay, and define my variable. Let's do remove that, because and in this line I just have my value of that. Okay, in this line I have just value of my. Let's just save that, and let's just see that in my GUI. Test2, it's my make file. Define var, it's a recursive variable. Echo, this is line 1, echo, this is line 2, and put it in my recipe. So I will have 2 lines in my recipe and echo 2 lines. Okay, I have 2 lines. I will have 2 lines in my recipe. Let's do run my make. Echo, this is line 1. Echo, this is line 2. This is line 2. Okay. I can give my variable from option of make. From options of make. So let's give an example. None my make file and define a simple variable, or I can not define anything. For example, don't define my variable, and here echo var, but my variable is not defined, but I can define my variable from make option. So how can I do that? Let's save that. If I want to run make, I can write make and my variable, for example var equal solar, without any space. Okay, and echo solar. Okay, echo solar. If I define my variable in my file, for example var equal to David, what will print in output? What will make print in output? Let's do save that, and another time run make var solar. It's print solar because the value that you put in your option takes precedence and is prior. So how can I override this value? Okay, how can I override solar? It's so easy. Nano make file and write override. It's a keyword in Makefile. First of your variable name. You can use override for multi-line variables, all of your variables. In this time, if I another time run make solar, it prints David because I write override first of my variable. And if you write override, make will override and ignore your definition from your option. Okay, from option and from terminal. And it's the use of override. You have some other things for variables in your documentation in your make file. Let's do open that. Gnu Make documentation manual. If you see variable part, writing recipe for variable, how to use variable. You have some other things, for example, target specific variable values, and you can read that, or pattern specific variables, some variable for a special pattern, for example, just for your C file and your object file, or just for a target file, or other things, or some other special things. Okay, you can read these informations about in make documentation and make manual. Okay, so in make file, you know what's the variable, what's the basic of variable, two flavor of variable or two types of variable: simply expanded and recursively expanded. Advanced feature for reference variable. Okay, let's do back to table of contents and how variable get their values in the first phase of reading your makefile or after reading all of your makefile. Setting variables, appending more text to variables, what's the directive, defining multi-line, and undefined variable. You can see some information about undefined variable and some function. For that I will teach function in next part, and a lot of other things. I think it's enough for variables, and in next part I will give you some information about functions, using functions, using include in your makefile, include other makefiles in your makefile, and I will write a professional and a good makefile, and I close the introduction of makefile in next part. Okay, and I complete the introduction of makefile in next part. And see you soon, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, and see you soon.